crawling, walking, running, throwing, jumping, squatting, all these as a sequence would probably be called physical literacy. Physical literacy as a word was coined by the British scholar Margaret Whitehead. We in the last few years as a nation have focused on making this country alphabetically and numerically literate. But in the bargain, we've lost on a very important aspect, and that is physical literacy. If you look at India as a country, we've always looked at physical literacy as a very important component. We may not have used the word physical literacy, but our culture actually had physical activity as a key component, whether it's yoga, kalari, or our art forms of Bharatanatyam, Kuchipudi, Kathakali. All of these things were movement based. Are things like temples being on hilltops and yatras needing us to move a lot, or our culture of sitting down and eating or bending to elders, all of these things actually had physical movement incorporated into our lifestyles. How many kids in today's day and age have thrown a ball as far as it can go or as high as it can be thrown? If the boundaries of your physical being are not being explored, how can you even think of your mind to be a visionary? I think the last few years has seen a steady rise, an alarming rise in the number of lifestyle diseases which have come. The decline of physical literacy has meant the increase in lifestyle diseases. Kids having diabetes very young, heart rates being very high among professionals very young. The number of people who have had back issues has been tremendous. The diabetes issues have been tremendous. Obesity has been tremendous. Kids, a majority of the kids ending up with flat foot, and many of them not able to do simple things like running backwards. I think these are major issues for a nation which is so young, because from a health perspective, from a happiness perspective, from a mental health perspective, from a community perspective, I think addressing physical literacy solves many of these problems. In the last 2 years, we've had great public engagements. We've gone ahead and done things where people have come together to support physical literacy, to be part of the journey. We've gone ahead to try and influence governments to ensure that public policy incorporates physical literacy as a key component, and to have multiple ministries come together to own physical literacy. We've gone to education departments to tell them the importance of kids playing sport. It is beyond medals is what we are talking about, and that is what in the next few years we need to build on. As a nation, we are at a point where we need to intervene. We need to implement what the learnings have over the past few years. We have met scientists, we have met scholars, we have met people who have worked in the field to come together with a plan which ensures that as a nation we start to become more physically literate. It's time for us to move further. It's time for us to organize this into a setup which is more sustainable, more research which is important, more advocacy which is important, more policy which is important, because each state is different, each city is different, each community is different. So what works in Kerala may not work in Kashmir, what works in Gujarat may not work in Mizoram. I think it's very important for us, the length and breadth of the country has different cultures, and it's very important that we incorporate that which is existing into the policy to ensure that each one of us is moving and taking advantage of being physically literate. In the last few years, successive governments have spoken about the importance of sport. I think steadily over the years, investment in sport has gone up. People have started looking at sport differently from what they've looked at in the last few years. Government has looked at yoga very differently. Today, World Yoga Day has started off, and people across the country have started to do running as a major activity, yoga as a major activity. It's time to deepen this further. So I request governments to come be part of this journey, to share this vision and to build on this vision to ensure that there is a population which is happy, which is healthy, and which has access to the activities which can be done physically. It's time for governments to invest, it's time for corporates to invest, it's time for citizens to participate, and it's time for all of us to come together as a nation to build on physical literacy.
Sadgurubhyo Namaha. We begin with the lighting of the lamp. Over to you, Sonali.
The lighting of the ceremonial lamp signifies the removal of confusion and clutter and quite literally shows us the way. Let there be clarity in our thoughts, purity in our intent, and purpose in our actions. To quote the Buddha, if you light a lamp for someone else, it will also brighten your path. Thank you, Gita. The Ayur Mantra is a collection of short chants for health and nourishment. It can be accompanied by certain mudras or action gestures and emotions which are beneficial for the nourishment and protection of the individual, community, and the world. If you so wish, we encourage you to follow us in this word and movement pattern. Om Ayur Dehi, may my life be nourished. Om Pranan Dehi, may the upward moving energy be nourished. Om Apanan Dehi, may the downward moving energy be nourished. Om Vyanan Dehi, may the circulating energy be nourished. Om Chakshur Dehi, may my sight be nourished. Om Shrotran Dehi, may my hearing be nourished. Om Mano Dehi, may my mind be nourished. Om Vachan Dehi, may my speech be nourished. Om Atmanan Dehi, may my soul be nourished. Om Pratishhthan Dehi, may I rest in nourishment. Om Mam Dehi, may I be nourished. Om Mai Dehi, may my nourishment be useful to others. Thank you for the lovely demonstration, Gita. It is now an honor and a pleasure to introduce the pacemaker of this conference in India, the one who has been vital in leading and driving the entire group of independent professionals to come together for the vision of physical literacy. I welcome Amit Malik, a learner and strong believer in the development of physical literacy in India through the philosophy of Margaret Whitehead and the IPLA. Dr. Amit Malik is India Ambassador for the International Physical Literacy Association, that is the IPLA. He has contributed to physical literacy through teacher training, leadership orientation, sports policy design, curriculum and lesson planning, on-ground implementation, research, and innovative solutions while staying true to the core philosophy at all times. Indirect impact of his work could be in the range of 5 million children. Amit, I now hand over the baton to you and please proceed with the welcome address.
Thank you, Sonali. And first of all, namaste to all those who have joined us today. आज हमारे साथ बहुत सारे बाहर के लोग भी जुड़े हैं, तो हमें इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज थोड़ा ज़्यादा रखना पड़ेगा, but we are appreciative of the diversity of culture of our country and language is one of that. So I heartily welcome all of you on behalf of everyone. Today's workshop is not by one institution, it is by a team, individuals, people who want physical literacy to be taken to the all children in India. So today's conference is about physical literacy advocates in India with guidance of International Physical Literacy Association. So it's an honor and opportunity for all of us to fulfill the needs, demands, and the responsibilities from IPLA. As Sonali said, passing the baton, today's conference is a historical day for the physical literacy promotion in the world because this conference is 24-hour conference. आज ये कॉन्फ्रेंस 24 घंटे का कॉन्फ्रेंस है. जैसे रेस में हम भागते हैं बैटन 400 मीटर इंटू 4, आज का ऐसा ही रेस है. इट इज 6 टाइम जोन ईच 4 आवर्स. 6 अलग अलग टाइम जोन में 4 घंटे के लिए ये कॉन्फ्रेंस किया जा रहा है. अभी अभी मुझे बैटन मिला है चाइनीज ताइपाई टीम से, जो लोग चाइना में प्रमोट कर रहे हैं फिजिकल लिटरेसी को. और मॉर्निंग में ऑस्ट्रेलिया में ये वर्कशॉप शुरू हुई थी और जैसे हम इंडिया में खत्म करेंगे ये मुहिम यूरोप में शुरू होगी. तो ये ऐतिहासिक दिन है फिजिकल लिटरेसी को प्रमोट करने के लिए देश भर से अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर के सभी लोगों का इकट्ठा होना. एंड वी आर रियली थैंकफुल टू IPLA and of course to all of you, because all of you are the torch bearer of physical literacy in your own capacities. Today's conference in India will be having 3 main key objectives. First objective is to look at our strength as a culture. What are our strengths in Indian culture? Second would be understanding issues, challenges, solution for our own people. Starting with children, we go to adults, senior citizens. As physical literacy is all inclusive, will not leave any segment untouched today. All these age group will be touched in today's discussion. What are the issues they have in their physical literacy journey? How we can support each other. And third will be thought leadership keynote speech by Margaret Whitehead, who is the founder of this concept, along with Pullela Gopichand, who is national torchbearer of the concept, and Dr. Padma, who is a renowned Bharatanatyam dancer. So with 3 agendas and with your consent and permission, we start today's session with our first panel discussion. And for this, I will invite my colleague, my friend Ashish Rawat to moderate this session. Ashish connected with this concept of physical literacy more than 4 years back. He heads physical education practices curriculum at Heritage Experiential School in Delhi, NCR. He has implemented physical literacy for all his school children, and they have seen huge benefits of implementing the program where children are more empowered for their physical literacy journey. He has keen interest in physical education, physical literacy, Olympism, Olympic value education as well. So with my deepest regard, I welcome Ashish to moderate today's session, and we will have a lot of panelists also who would be supporting him. Welcome Ashish, and I hand over the next session to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Amit, and thank you everyone, Gita, for this wonderful introduction. I think why we are here is the cause that we wanted to be here. Physical literacy is the only cause that can drive each one of us, irrespective of what phase of life that we come from. And in this session, we will be majorly focusing on children's, what are the opportunities and what are the challenges that we see that is being faced by all of us during different phases of life, especially when we talk about, everybody talks about where the grassroots and everything begins. So it all begins from school. So you change the school system, every line of action will be a better line of action once we sort everything out there. To discuss this, we have enchanting and enriched personalities with us. And to introduce them one by one, it is majorly they were looking at why do we need a PL curriculum? Why do we need a PL-driven curriculum? What happens in school? What happens in school is majorly that it is a sports driven concept. So now when does this PE got taken a form of sports we were never aware about, and we started running behind these medals, these competitions. But is it more restricted to that phase, or is it more than that? So to discuss all that, we have a wonderful guest with us from all phases, all the stakeholders that are a part of. We have a principal, Ms. Chitra Prasad. She started her career in NSN in the year 1996. As a coordinator, she became the principal in 2000 and went on to become the correspondent in 2006. She is a postgraduate in English with a bachelor's degree in education and a postgraduate diploma in educational leadership. She has been in the field of education for 25 years and is a passionate educationist who loves to be mom at school. She believes in an educational system that unleashes the humongous human potential and aids in discovering the self. A school, according to her, should not only be a temple of learning, but also a temple of transformation. She played a vital role in the expansion of NSN and the NSN group of schools, and was instrumental in the accreditation of all three schools. She leads a team of more than 300 staff. She works closely with the heads of all three schools, empowering them to dynamic leaders. We welcome you, ma'am, to this presentation. Next, we have a physical educator with us, a very young, dynamic person, Mr. Karan, who is presently working as a physical education teacher in a very prestigious boarding school in India, Mayo College, Ajmer. He is former captain of Rajasthan State Senior National Football Team. He is an awardee of Junior Research Fellowship by University Grant Commission of India. He has also been a member of International Professional Scouting Organization of Football, the youngest Indian coach in 2021, and a TEDx speaker at NIT Raipur. He has been a resource person and delivered sessions on health and physical education at various prestigious institutions of India. We welcome you, Mr. Karan. Next, we have a panelist with us, young, vibrant Miss Binni Ghosh. Binni Ghosh is a physical educator and a successful basketball coach for 4 years at Heritage Experiential Learning School, Gurugram, where the curriculum was indigenously developed based on NASP standards, followed by a development towards physical literacy under the guidance of Nigel Green. She is a passionate educator who understands the work well with children. It is her endeavor to help every student take on physical activity as a lifetime habit through creating an interest and passion for it. Whether they have high athletic abilities or do not, no child is left behind is her motto. It is an ingrained attitude in her personal practices and beliefs. We welcome you, Binni Ghosh. Next, we have a father and an educator with us, Mr. Dr. Gaurav Pant. Dr. Gaurav Pant is an educator and an entrepreneur. He is working as an assistant professor at Bharati Vidhyapeeth deemed university at College of Physical Education since 2010. He is also the head of Department of Research and Advanced Studies. He had done PhD in physical education and MPhil in physical education. Apart from that, he had done MBA in marketing and various online courses in sports marketing and business. He's also working in the field of yoga research for past 10 years. He had published more than 30 research papers in 6 books and 2 patents in the field of sports. His area of interest in yoga research, sports psychology, and sports entrepreneurship. We welcome you, Dr. Gaurav. Last but not the least, we have Mr.Abir Srivatsava, a young voice. That's what we require today. Abir Srivatsava is an all-rounder who joined Mayo College in 2016 and has proved his mettle both on and off the sports field. An excellent leader, he has captained his school football team at various school and district level tournaments. Further, he has selected to represent under 17 Ajmer state team and also captained Baichung Bhutia football schools under 18 team and an open state championship. An electrifying athlete, he had also proved his mettle in both track and field events as well as basketball. We welcome you, Abir. Now moving from here, I mean, this is the wonderful platform that we could have. I would like to start and straight go to the mom of the school. So what made that changes in 2014 when you started, or 2004, please correct me on that, when you started with this physical literacy journey for your group of schools? What were your experiences and how it was accepted by all the other people? Because it was relatively a very new concept at that point of time. So what was your set of experiences and how it came out to be?
Happy morning to all of you. My sincere thanks to IPLA and Geeta Krishnaraj for this opportunity given to me to express myself. Well, LSN group of schools prepares students for life. So focusing a lot on attitude, skill, and knowledge. This is not a school which focuses only on academics. We focus on the holistic growth of the child. Students used to participate in a lot of sporting competitions. They used to win a lot of prizes, and we were also very proud of their achievements. But I noticed one thing, that this new generation was leading a very sedentary lifestyle. They had literally become couch potatoes. They were more with gadgets, and there were lesser spaces for them to, play around. School was only place where they had a large playground, but not anywhere else. That concept is not there where children can go and practice and, play around. Like when we were kids, there were a lot of open spaces where we could go and play. And I found that these children were not, after school hours, they were in front of the gadgets, not doing anything. There was no physical movement as such. So I used to find children sometimes, if the assembly in the morning extended, 5 minutes more, they used to literally faint. So I was thinking, what is the point in winning so many medals and so many cups when basically their eating habit is not right and they're not doing anything about their fitness levels? They should know how the body functions, and sports and games, probably in school and college, they will have a lot of competitions to participate, but fitness is for life. And NSN is a school which prepares students for life. So what about the fitness part? Sound mind and a sound body is what Swami Vivekananda said. So sound mind, but there's a sound body. So we were quite anxious about it, because the physical education curriculum in the school was focusing more only on the games and things that they have to play, but not about how the body functions or how they need to take care of the body. I should say that is when the Maverick physical literacy program came to our rescue, and Geeta Krishnaraj explained to us that's exactly what I had in mind, that children should know about their body. They should be body conscious, because that body of theirs is their temple. That is the vehicle for this, birth, and they should know how to take care of their body. And she said that we are bringing in a physical literacy program which will work on the awareness of students about their body. And yes, initially it took a couple of years for us to convince the parents, because for them, PT periods are more about playing games. But then, yes, of course, since the trust in us is huge, they understood. We were able to convince them, because children used to go home and tell the parents how much fun they are. They were not realizing the fact that we are working on their body, but it was a lot of fun for them. And they were going home and telling parents that, this period is something we look forward to. And children started enjoying, and in the bargain, they were also, learning a lot about their physical fitness and becoming more aware of themselves.
Right. So, Ms. Chitra, would you like to share of what was the take of from the student side, and how the parents, you have already mentioned, how the student took this? Because it wasn't easy, that because suddenly when somebody loves to play a certain sport or something, and then you redirect them, because it is a lot about their choices that they wanted to make, and we might be knowing that what may be holistically good for them. So how the student responded to it?
Yeah, for the students, there are students who are not interested in sports also. Not all students are interested in sports. Some of them are a little laid back. But this curriculum, this physical literacy curriculum designed by Maverick, is, works on, the right brain, the left brain. It works on, everything, that it is a lot of fun for children. They're enjoying while they exercise. I wouldn't even call it exercising. They are actually playing with their body. So the curriculum is so interestingly designed that children, when you use the word exercise itself, they're put off by that. So it was not like an exercise for them, but it was more of a fun period for them, where they were not reluctant. They were actually looking forward to Maverick. They're ready for a Maverick period. They wouldn't want to miss a Maverick period. Even if they are not able to come to school on a particular day, they really wish they can come for the Maverick period, at least for that Maverick period. It became like that because not all students are interested in sports per se. But all of them started showing interest in Maverick because the curriculum level-wise is designed like that, right? From first standard onwards, it's decided. I mean, we have it from first standard. Of course, they have it from kindergarten to 12th standard. We had taken up from class 1 to class 8, and still now we are running it for class 1 to class 8. And it is designed in such a way that it makes it very interesting for children. So they wouldn't want to miss the physical literacy class, the Maverick.
So I think the key word that I take it from here is, with this kind of curriculum, and the student got self-motivated to be a part of it, right? And which we say it that motivation itself is one of the major components when we talk about physical literacy, right? Moving on to Dr. Gaurav Pant. Dr. Gaurav, you have both the sides of the swings. You have been a physical educator, you have been an athlete yourself, and now being a father. So if I ask you from a father perspective, that how do you feel, where do you see your daughter growing with this kind of curriculum, and what is the need and what has been offered? So how do you evaluate of what has been offered, and how do you see of what has been, will be responding better? So if you can throw some light of how you want and what is it about physical literacy that you know.
Sure, Ashish. Thank you for inviting me, first of all, in this conference. Being a physical educator, you spend your whole life, first of all, learning, then teaching. And now I also have a startup, so administrating a sports business. And I have not realized it until COVID hit. So if all people gonna agree with me, we have spent more time with our family during COVID time. We have stayed at home. We have spent more time with our kids. Me being a father, I have done that, and I really enjoyed it. But I found something which was, not proper. What was not proper? My kid, rather than spending time with me, spending more screen time, which she was ever doing. And I am a bit of a technology freak, so I understand what screen time do to a kid. Unfortunately, all the classes were online, right? Matter of fact, the physical activities were online. So that gives me something, to think of, that what I wanted my kid to, reduce has been increased during COVID. A part of that, I found, and my daughter is 7-year-old, so I found some behavioral changes as well. The first behavior change with the increased screen time is aggression. I found her a bit aggressive then, and my kid is a hyperactive kid. She was always into games and sports. Unfortunately, since I'm in Pune and we were in a hot zone, we were not allowed to go out. And my kid was a hyperactive kid. We used to run together, but because of COVID, she was inside the house. During that time, we, being an adult, we were, taking care of the mental health. We were talking about immunity. We talked about physical health, a lot of things, but nobody talked about the kids' mental health and their physical activity. Those kids were there for 2 years inside their houses, premises, not playing, not doing any kind of an activity as such, because most of the parents, to be honest, don't understand. As me, Ashish is a very good friend of mine, and we discuss physical literacy a lot. So don't understand the worth of physical literacy in the individual's life. So what I did few changes in my daughter's lifestyle. We started doing yoga together. we started, stopped taking lift. I prepared small obstacles in the house itself where she can jump, run, do all kind of bit of an activity, keeping herself active. And she was very happy in that. So physical activity, not only, and then I found a reduction in the aggression. And since she was enjoying this, beautiful time playing, doing physical activity, um, there she was less aggressive. She was emotionally balanced, and physical fitness, that was by part of it. And suddenly, it was a Eureka movement for us because, as Ashish has mentioned, I am an entrepreneur. I have a sports startup. We started working on sports education curriculum with a physical literacy side on it. Because, as Chitra ma'am has already said, we may produce Olympians, but it is not worth if we don't have a fit generations leading us. At the end of the day, what makes a difference how fit you are. So. Then I did a course in physical literacy. I wanted to understand more about it. And again, thank you, Ashish, for that. Physical literacy basically changed the whole, outlook of seeing physical activities with my kid and again with the school itself.
So I take a key point from here where I see that a lot has been worked on to the cognitive side of an individual.
Yes.
Once where it develops the motivation, but the physical activity is not only limited to the physical aspect to it, but it is the cognitive aspect that plays a major role when a kid is playing, because his emotional states and characters changes over a period of time. Right. Thank you so much, Gaurav. Now moving to Binni. Binni, you have been working with PL curriculum for about 3-4 years, right? And you might have seen the journey of how it changes from NAS standards and from moving on to the physical literacy. Where do you find physical literacy stands better, and how does it stands better in that context? And what are the real ground situations that you felt has taken the development in the students from physical, affective, and cognitive sides?
So, as you've already mentioned, before we came across the term physical literacy, we were utilizing the National Standards of Physical Education as our curriculum. And it was a very well-developed curriculum with 5 major standards that we were looking at, and clear grade level outcomes were there. When we came across physical literacy in the year 2018 with the help of Nigel sir, there were 2 major aspects that actually fascinated me a lot. The first was the statement physically active for life. So that was something that we actually read as physical educators. The first definition that we actually get, the definition from cradle to grave, that was being fulfilled, which was amazing. And the second one was that every individual is unique and their own capabilities are different, which was something that we have been talking about for so long, the individual difference. But bringing it into practice was always a challenge. So these 2 aspects were something that actually made us look towards it in more, serious note. Obviously, there was an apprehension to any kind of change that comes across. But thankfully, Nigel sir was there to guide us throughout, and we were able to work towards it without much of a problem once everyone in the department was seeing the possible positive outcome that was possible. So once we started working towards it, started making the lesson plans were made looking into the skill level of the students rather than the grade levels. So this was a major change that was done. And the second was making sure that the physical, affective, and the cognitive domains actually flows hand in hand. Because as Chitra ma'am and Gaurav sir already said, actually, that all of this is very well interconnected. And we have to make sure that all these 3 aspects actually flows together. Now, while executing it, we tried to make sure that every individual has their own journey, and in attaining that, the best that they can basically do, rather than comparing and doing all those sort of things, it was their own skills that were being developed. And the assessments also were made not in a general, but in a very individualized manner, making sure that the self-assessment and the peer assessment, that kind of things come into place, and the students can see their own progress throughout. So fortunately, one great thing that happened was the students actually accepted this change very positively. As we shared with them the entire process that is going to happen, took their feedback and started implementing the lesson plans. And I really feel that once the students are made a part of the entire process, they start to understand what is being done. And they actually helped us a lot in being better educators. And you could see them enjoying the process as they gradually move from being just students to teachers for their peers, helping not only themselves, but their friends in the entire process in improving themselves as well as the friends. And we as teachers became the facilitators. So that was an amazing change that took place in the entire thing. And by putting students first and giving them the ownership of learning, we were actually able to help them feel more empowered. And it was like instilling a sense of intrinsic motivation that I feel allowed them to continue enjoying the activities. And I feel that will help them in enjoying the activities for their life as well, as it is, these type of experiences where the PE classes or any kind of sports activities or any such settings where the students begin to develop skills that will not only support them in the task at hand at that point of time, but can be applied in their daily lives. So the life skills are also started coming into play. And the concept of physical literacy, as well, very nicely already explained by Chitra ma'am and Gaurav sir, is something that cannot be gauged on a checklist that we complete and then we move on to the next phase of it. It is a journey for each student that we have, their own challenges, their own obstacles and achievements. And the non-stop pursuit of improvement in our own performances that allows us to connect to the social group, the classmate, create a behavioral change that go far from the PE classes, so as to say. And there's a development of sense of confidence that will not only have in the PE classes, but also across in many activities and experiences in their lives. So it is not just the skills I feel that they're going to learn or the rules of the games that they'll remember from these teachings, but rather the environment and the experiences that are being provided to them through the physical literacy curriculum that will not only like help them learn, but also to have fun and enjoy the entire process throughout.
Great. So I would like to put that into the right frame of examples. So think of a situation that you are a student, think of your school days, and you are in front of a teacher, and that teacher calls you by name, say, Binni, how are you? And then suddenly Binni goes up and says, oh, teacher knows me by my name because this is my first class. That's the individual repo that we need to develop it somehow. So I think physical literacy gives you that vision to have that individual approach. So think of a concern. Everybody in grade 5 will not be good at maths and will not be at the same standard. So why do we teach the same thing to everyone? So for someone, 2 plus 2 is easy. For someone, it might be difficult, right? Or making a square out of a square root of it, it might be difficult. So why don't we go on to what is required by that child? So that is the individualistic journey. So even if I don't run 100 meter in 14 seconds, but I run and I complete it in 20 seconds, that's my advantage. Today I'm running in 20 seconds, maybe I will do it in 90 seconds. And are you aware of that learning? Can I use that learning somewhere else? And we say it in PE, transfer of learning. Can I use this skill into my journal life? Because 99% of the students will not be sports persons or PE educators when they go out of school. 99% of them will be the physical being. They go out in the market, they will be engineers, they will be doctors. What do they need to do? And as an educator, we are preparing them for life and not for any particular activity. So we have to stop looking at, okay, go, play, win. Rather, go, play, enjoy, respect. That's what we require to do. With that quote, I will move on to Karan, and from one of the most reputed college of schools of India, Mayo College, Ajmer. Karan, we have always heard Mayo doing wonders into the sports field, getting this trophy and getting this trophy. But how do you feel the sport might have diverted you from physical literacy journey, or rather, I would say that how sports has helped you to go into the physical literacy journey, and exactly what you think should be changing in the coming times based the needs that we have. On to you.
Thank you, sir. Actually, I must start with complimenting you that the way you have given example, which was endorsed by Chitra ma'am also, that somehow our sports system is like that, that we assess it by in terms of how many championship our students won, how many medals our students got, and how many team championship or tournaments our students have participated in. I think this needs to stop now. Actually, the thing is that this course is not uh, the only tool which attracts students. It's also build leadership. It's also increase teamwork. It also increase your cooperation among the students. But somehow we forgot that it is deviating us from the basic thing which we need to understand. I think still we have sir junior school here, and most of our boys participate in football, cricket, hockey, but nobody participate in. We have, I mean to say, we have less number of students who participate in basketball, uh, shooting, archery. We have 25 odd number of sports, and when I figure it out why this season is as, I found a trend that we have a Kishangarh Shield trophy in junior school, and we have only 3 games in it. So that's why, because they get chance to participate in the team. So that's why that driving force was there to pushing them into these sports. But the thing is that we need to understand. I have 750 kids in my school. I'm not making everyone Olympian here. As Chitra ma'am also told that. Not all the players will represent country, and neither these all the students will represent in their school team. So what about rest of these 99%? What we are doing that? So we need to understand the objective of physical literacy in our school or physical education in our school. The thing is that the physical, we somehow deviated, as Gaurav sir said, we had deviated from our physical education objective to the sports objective. But now I think that the way these things are emphasized, the way these things are taken is not right. We need to have a physical literacy base where we teach our students the fundamental movements, the locomotor and teach them about the locomotor and locomotor skills. It is not the same curriculum we have started from after the post independence. So we need to understand the objective of the physical education now, with the physical literacy now, that our major chunk of our energy should go in teaching the students how you should jump, how you should walk. We may be winning. We at the same time, I was comparing one scenario that we were having a group photo here with a cup, and at the same time, our director watched one boy was walking with the down shoulder. So, what is the use of having this cup, and the other side one boy don't know how to walk. So this is the important and basic thing we need to understand. But our brain is processed in a manner that we always appreciate progress, we don't emphasize on process. Secondly, I must say that we should have a curriculum or assessment system where we assess our students on these locomotor and fundamental skills. Like, we should also teach how, I still remember, sir, when you were teaching me in first year, you told that there are fundamental skills. We also teach, you should teach these things, that how a student should stand, how he should walk erect, he should not have backward this thing. But we don't teach it. We think that this student will learn this automatically, and rest of the thing is sports. And now these things are actually not right. So what we can change now? First thing is that we need to change our approach towards our physical education program and the physical literacy program. We need to understand that we are not making everyone sportsman here. we also have a moral duty to teach our students how to perform these fundamental movements, how to perform these locomotor and non-locomotor movements well. We should also appreciate them on their strength, not on their weakness. We always put these players out of the team who are not good. Okay, no, don't do that. Teach them something which they can cherish throughout their life, because we are not teaching them only how to play football. We are not making only them winners. But if we are not making them winners, no problem. But we should inculcate that winning mindset in their head. So once we do it, our objective is fulfilled, and that we can do, I think, with physical literacy well, because that gives a social acceptance to a child, that if he has having a perfect personality that is recognized in the society, if he is socially acceptable, if he is emotionally stable, that small domains are actually appreciated by the society. So these things we need to understand now, and we need to change our approach. Second is, I think there is a new terminology is coming. There's learn, unlearn, and relearn. And we need to understand that learning is not a big deal. Relearning is also not a big deal, but unlearning is the biggest thing which we cannot do, because our brain is processed like that. So when I was studying, I was not taught to teach these things in my college curriculum. So I don't know how to do it. So I think these things should also come in training of teachers or training of trainees, so that they can also understand how these things should be taken in their course. I think Gaurav sir raised his hand.
It's okay. You finish and then we'll come.
Okay. So I think these things also should be incorporated in our teacher training program or profession. That should be part of our professional courses, so that we can make our future teachers well equipped and very well versed with the curriculum, and they can teach these things to our students. At last, I must say that our objective is not to prepare the sports person or this. Rather, if we we teach a child sportsmanship, that will be a very big thing for us, that we can teach to a child. Secondly, don't prepare for the don't teach a student to become a Olympic medalist. Just try to make him the global leader. If he achieve that, I'm telling you, they can do miracles. They may become Olympic Olympic medalists also one day. Yes, over to you, Ashish.
Wonderful, Karan. I think I will take 2 or 3 points from here. The effective side of it. So when he talked about teamwork, so collaborating with the other person, how socially you are equipped. And the second thing that I'll take is the exposure, the broad base of the early education. So what do we do is the when you were saying about the trend that you saw in your schools, that it is only 3 things have been offered to them. Think of a person when you put 10 things in front of them and they do all of it, and then they choose. When they go wise, they choose of what they wanted to do. And we also use sports as a tool rather than as an outcome to it. So we use sports as a tool to develop them, right? And I think we have the on-ground reality or on-ground example with us, Mr. Abir Srivatsava, a young boy sitting right in front of us. And I think, Abir, what football has done to you, how he has made you grown. I will not talk about physical literacy here. I would like to hear you, or what football has done to you, how he has changed your physical aspect, how it has changed the social, the compromise, everything. And you can share a few examples of your friends, of yourself, of what the life has been before and after.
Thank you, sir. First of all, I'd like to say it's my greatest honor. I'd like to thank IPLA for giving me this opportunity to be among such an esteemed set of panelists. If you ask me personally, I have been a person who has never been able to stick to one thing. I'm pretty sure that I've played and tried out every sport you can possibly think of. I started with karate when I was around 6 years old. Then I went on to playing cricket like every other Indian kid for a few years, to horse riding and basketball, to athletics. But none of them have really appealed to me the way football has appealed to me. I believe that football in ways has been like my kryptonite and has been like an anchor for me, because I finally found something that I was truly passionate about and was willing to put my heart and soul into. And apart from teaching me some of the most important values of, like Karan sir said, team play, self-discipline and dedication, and teaching me the importance of being micro-ambitious and setting goals for myself, it's also been, I feel it's also been the perfect getaway and outlet for me to express myself and get away from the constant pressure of academics, school, and my peers. I personally feel most confident with the ball at my feet, and I'm sure I speak on behalf of many, many other sportsmen and women my age when I say that today for us, playing sports is not just about keeping fit, but for today's generation, I feel it's a getaway and an escape from the bustle of our daily lives. That is what makes sports so important to us and gives us the confidence to keep going, because it doesn't just help me or us, all of us become more confident in our capabilities, but also ourselves. And hence it gives us the confidence to take on the challenges that come our way. So that is why I feel that sports today in an average teenagers and our generation is so important to each one of us.
Chitra ma'am, I would like to come back to you and just have one small comment. I was just listening to this young boy and the way he's speaking and the way he was sharing his experiences. I mean, that's what we want at the end of the day. Our students may or may not be doing good at all the levels, but if he is an ardent speaker, if he has the philosophy of everything. So what you would like to suggest or ask Abir on that ground? Chitra ma'am, over to you.
I fully agree with what he had to say, because I truly believe that sports brings in that discipline in a child. It should bring that discipline in the child, because many of these youngsters do not know the importance of their body. They resort to vices because they are not body conscious. Once you become body conscious, you will not touch anything which is not good for your body, and you will keep yourself fit. I think that is one way, because in our school we have a gym, and we have started the gym only because we wanted these children to become, body conscious and take care of their body so that they don't resort to any kind of vices. And early in life, if they are into sports, it gives them that discipline, to work out every day, and mainly to take care of their body. The importance of the body is very, it is essential that we teach them when they're very young. And like he said, all the leadership skills and that confidence that he has developed, I don't think even a subject that you study ardently or earnestly can give you that confidence as much as when a child has to, go out into the field, play the game, meet and interact with so many people in different geographies. They have to go and play. So they become very adaptable also. So it's not just the team spirit, it's also the leadership skill which he was talking about. Even a child who's a bookworm and who's a top ranker in the class need not necessarily have that confidence and that leadership skill which sports can give. So if you can combine both sports and academics, I think it's a brilliant combination where, you can, move forward in life with the required qualities on the field and off the field. Both contribute and complement each other. So I think yeah.
I think we need more people like you that who understands the both sides of the coin. And I think it is very much important. I would now very quickly go to Gaurav and receive his last comment of what he wanted to speak about. As we are short of time, so let's keep it very brief. Sorry.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Ashish. Thank you, Chitra ma'am, for understanding what physical literacy do to a person. Well, just wanted to inform you guys, since it's a platform where it could be done. As we have discussed earlier with Ashish, and as Mr. Karan has already told about teaching physical literacy in college, we at College of Physical Education, Bharati Vidhyapeeth is changing our curriculum and implementing physical literacy in one of our semesters from next year. And we are also putting effort on doing a bit of a research when it comes to physical literacy. That is what I wanted to share. Thank you.
So Binni and Karan, you belong to the same field. Any suggestions, Binni, or any suggestion, Karan, that you would like to give it to each other for a closing comment?
Yes. Mm, we both are from same institute, and I think we also had the same kind of issues and the things we face in today's education system. But the thing is that we always have the thing inside from us that we want to improve system, because this is the good thing you can learn from the loser, not from the winner, because you can understand how he lost. He'll tell you the better way how he loses. So because we have seen our time, so I can understand that what things need to be improved, which we can incorporate it into the education system. So we have started that. Let's see how far we can go, how better we can do. We always ask suggestions from the seniors. That's it. The good thing you can learn from the loser, not from the winner, because you can understand how he lost. He'll tell you the better way how he loses. So because we have seen our time, so I can understand that what things need to be improved, which we can incorporate it into the education system. So we have started that. Let's see how far we can go, how better we can do. We always ask suggestions from the seniors. That's it.
Binni, your closing comments, please.
Well, I completely agree with what Karan has actually said. So we have actually been to the same institute, and well, we share the same experiences. And from those experiences only, we are able to come all the way here where we are. And well, I'm pretty sure that we'll keep on moving towards the ultimate target, that is physical activity for life. And I'm really happy to hear that, Gaurav sir, that you're actually starting with what you just shared from next session. It's really amazing.
So to sum it up, it was a wonderful session that I had. Like, thank you so much for involving yourself so much. Thank you, Abir, Karan, Gaurav, Binni, and thank you, Chitra ma'am, so much for sharing your experiences. What I can get it from here is, if each one of you talk about, everybody talked about the physical competence of individuals. We talked about motivation in the students developing. We saw the confident speaker, Bir Srivastava, speaking in here what sports has done to you. So it's all in all, these are the ingredients that a physical literacy curriculum. We just need to put an effort now that all these factors becomes evident to the student, because what they happens is these sports develop all these ingredients, but they don't become aware about it. How do I become aware about these characters being developed in me? And then I'm being conscious about it. So as Karan said, that when you lose, your shoulders are down. When you win, you are right. How to handle both the situation in terms of when you are handling the win or lose into the vice situation, not crying onto the ground maybe, or maybe not jumping over the other one like that, oh, I win that match. So it has to be a balanced thing that needs to come out. And I think as a human being, as all these speakers, we need to put our heart and souls together, all these stakeholders, to look physical literacy in a wider way in schools and colleges, rather than just looking at medals. And I think that will be the wonderful thing if all of us can do. So lastly, but not the least, I would like to thank each one of you with my folded hands for being a part of this wonderful session. And it was really enchanting and knowledge built for me to gain insights from you. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Amit, for inviting us. Over to you.
Thank you, Ashish and panelists, for an amazing session. And I think two things stayed with me: that whole ecosystem needs to come together, as everyone is an important actor in this. And second thing which stayed with me, one was very interesting part which was made, that while one champion is made, there are thousands of children whose shoulder are down anyway. So how the picture look like? Should I look in the picture where a winner is felicitated as a one champion, or opportunity of making other thousand also champion? Very beautiful and touching point. And second, as Abir said, it was quite heartwarming to me personally as well, when he said that through football he can express himself. And I immediately reflected upon very famous statement by Nelson Mandela, where he said that sports is more powerful than country and religions, because it can speak the language youth understands. So thank you for that amazing session on the physical literacy for our young children.